Hello, everyone. Welcome to the lesson about ordering and understanding menus at restaurants. I'm Megan, and we'll be going through this together. So let's go ahead and get started. So what can you say when you arrive in a restaurant? Of course, if you know how many are with you, you can say, I'd like a table for two, please, if you have two people in your group. If you have more than two, you can replace that number. So you could say, I'd like a table for three, please, or I'd like a table for four, please. If you have a reservation, you can say, I have a reservation for four under the name and your last name. So, of course, this is depending on the number of people in your group again. So we can replace the number 4 with 2, 3, 6, however many people are in your group. And you would, of course, complete this sentence with your last name. So we can say, I have a reservation for 4 under the name Goodman. That's my last name. Another thing you can say when arriving in a restaurant is, are you still serving food? Are you still serving food? This question is if you maybe arrived a little bit late to a restaurant and you're wanting to know if it's still possible to eat. We can also ask, do you take credit cards? Do you take credit cards? This may be important if you plan on paying with a credit card. Of course, you don't want to finish your meal and then not have a way to pay. So it's good to ask this at the beginning if you are not sure. Do you take credit cards? The next question has to do with your preference of where to sit in a restaurant. You can say, can we have a booth, please? Can we have a booth, please? A booth is like with a bench, not chairs, like two benches. Or if you prefer having chairs at a table, you can ask, can we have a table, please? Can we have a table, please? The next question is about where in the restaurant you will sit. You could ask, could we sit near the window? Could we sit near the window? Sometimes you don't want to sit next to the kitchen or next to the bathroom, and so you can ask them to sit somewhere else. And lastly, we could say when you arrive in a restaurant, is it possible to have just coffee and dessert? Is it possible to have just coffee and dessert? This is if you're just looking to have a little light coffee and dessert at the end of the night. Sometimes restaurants don't allow this, and so it's good to ask before they get you seated at a table to know if it's possible. Okay. So what expressions can we use to be polite in a restaurant? This is important. The first one, please. Always use please. Service industry people like waiters and hosts have to deal with a lot of people, so it's always very appreciated to say please when we're asking for something. Other ways to ask for things could be to say, may I? May I have a menu? May I have a menu? May we? May we, as in, may we sit near the window? May we sit near the window, like in this picture here. Another way is, could I? Could I see the wine list? Could I see the wine list? Could we? Could we have dessert? Could we have dessert? I would like. I would like a glass of water. I would like a glass of water. And of course, whenever we do receive something, we can say thank you or thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so you'll see these expressions throughout the rest of the lesson because this is the best way to ask for things and stay polite. So specifically, ways that we can ask for a menu. A menu is the list of food options available in a restaurant, not necessarily a prefix like we might see in France. So the menu is going to have everything available in a restaurant. So we can say, could we have menus, please? Could we have menus, please? Could I see the wine list? Could I see the wine list? Sometimes the wine list will be separate from the menu, and that's why we might need to ask for it separately. Can we see the dessert menu? Can we see the dessert menu? Again, sometimes dessert menus are separate from the main menu, and so you have to ask for it. Do you have an allergy-sensitive menu? Do you have an allergy-sensitive menu? This can be important if you have any kind of allergy that your waiter or server should know about. Sometimes, very often, restaurants will have a separate menu that denotes what items are allergen-free on their menu. So if someone in your group has an allergy, this may be a good question to ask. Same with the last question here. If someone has certain dietary preferences, as in being vegetarian or vegan or gluten-free, whatever it may be, you can ask, do you have vegetarian options? Do you have vegetarian options? And you can replace vegetarian with anything else that you might have a preference for. All right, let's continue. So to order a drink, very often this is the first thing you'll do after you've been given a menu. So we can say, I'd like a glass of water. Here's where we see the phrase we saw earlier, I would like. It can be shortened to I'd like. I'd like a glass of water. We can say, I'll have a Coke, please. I'll have a Coke, please. And remember, you can always add please to any of these. So, I'll have a Coke, please. Just water for me, thanks. Just water for me, thanks. Usually, if you're ordering water, we can say just water because there's nothing special about your order. It's pretty standard. So we can say just water for me, thanks. I would like a glass of wine. I would like a glass of wine. If you have a specific wine, you would say, like for example, Bordeaux. You could say, I would like a glass of Bordeaux wine. I'll take a pint of beer. I'll take a pint of beer. We can also say a half pint if you prefer. And lastly, we can say, can I please have a water with lemon? Can I please have a water with lemon? So notice the way that we ask these things. We can say, I'd like, I'll have, I would like, I'll take, can I please have? These are great ways to ask for something in a restaurant. And of course, the rest is customizable depending on what you want. So after your drink, normally you're going to order some food. So we can say, for my appetizer, I'll have the soup, for example. I'd like to start with a garden salad. So appetizers or starters begin the meal. We'll look at the names of other courses in just a moment. For my main course, I'll take the steak. Can I have the pasta bolognese? I would like the fried fish, please. We can always add please. Okay, so once again, we see I'll have, I'd like, I'll take, can I have, I would like. These are always great ways, like I mentioned, to ask for something. So let's go on to what some typical courses are called. As I mentioned just before, a starter or appetizer is what begins your meal. A starter or an appetizer. We can call it either one. In your menu, you may see a section of your menu called soups and salads or soup salad. And this is where you will find just that, different soup options and different salad options. Sometimes they can be considered an appetizer or a main meal. So they might have their own section of the menu. Next is the main course or entree. This may be a bit confusing because entree sounds like something else in French, but for us in English, the main course is the entree, not the appetizer. So the main course comes after the appetizer, the entree comes after the appetizer. In some restaurants, you may also see a section of the menu called sides or side dishes. These are generally little dishes that accompany a main course. So for example, you may see a steak available with 2 sides, and you have the choice of what sides you would like with them. These could be vegetables, potatoes, or other dishes. Lastly, you will probably see a section of your menu called dessert. Dessert or hot beverages sometimes as well, where you'll find tea, coffee, or other hot drinks to end your meal with. Okay, so you're at the restaurant, you've ordered your drink, you've ordered your food. How do you say if something is wrong? We definitely want to be able to communicate a problem, but we would also want to stay polite and respectful as well. So there's a few ways that we can make sure to do that. So firstly is by using the phrase, excuse me, so that we can get our waiter's attention. Excuse me, but this isn't what I ordered. If you've received a dish that is not what you thought you ordered, this might be a good thing to say to your waiter. There may be a mistake. Excuse me, but this isn't what I ordered. Excuse me, my soup is cold. If you've ordered something that's supposed to be hot and it's not the right temperature, it is totally within your right to let your waiter know so that they can fix it. Excuse me, my soup is cold. Can I have a new spoon, please? Or can I get a new spoon, please? This one is dirty. So if you've got cutlery, which is fork, knife, or spoon, that is dirty, or glassware, like a cup that's dirty, you can absolutely tell your waiter and they will get you a new one. You just have to let them know. So we can always say, excuse me, can I have a new spoon, please? A new fork, please? This one is dirty. Perhaps you make a mistake and you drop something on the ground. You can always say, I'm sorry, I dropped my fork on the ground. Could I have a new one, please? I'm sorry, I dropped my fork on the ground. Could I have a new one, please? And lastly, this isn't necessarily if something is wrong, but if you need something that you haven't gotten yet. For example, some ketchup, or perhaps mayonnaise or lemon, anything like extra like that that may not have come with your meal, you can ask, can I please have some ketchup? And once again, all of these, you could always add, excuse me, because your waiter might not be expecting to hear something else from you. So to get their attention, excuse me is a perfectly acceptable way to do so. Okay, so how do we ask to pay? This is pretty straightforward. We generally call the way to pay the bill or the check. So we can use the same ways of asking for things to ask for the bill. May we have the bill, please? I'd like the check, please. Can I have the bill? I'll take the check. So similar to how we order food or order drinks, the same phrases work here as well. May we have the bill, please? I'd like the check, please. Can I have the bill? I'll take the check. Okay, so now let's go back and work on repeating some of these things together. So let's look again at some typical courses. We have starters or appetizers, starter, appetizer, soup and salad, soup, salad, main course or entree, main course, entree, sides or side dishes, sides, side dishes, and dessert, dessert. Good. Let's take a look again at how to order some food. For my appetizer, I'll have the, can you repeat? For my appetizer, I'll have the, I'd like to start with a, please repeat. I'd like to start with a. For my main course, I'll take the. For my main course, I'll take the. Can I have the? Can I have the? I would like the. I would like the. Good. Let's take a look back at how to order a drink. I'd like a glass of ice water. Please repeat. I'd like a glass of ice water. I'll have a Coke, please. I'll have a Coke, please. Just water for me, thanks. Just water for me, thanks. I would like a glass of wine. I would like a glass of wine. I'll take a pint of beer. I'll take a pint of beer. Can I please have a water with lemon? Can I please have a water with lemon? Good. Now that we have practiced ordering again, let's take a look at some. The first menu item on the second menu, the jumbo coconut shrimp. We would say, I would like the jumbo coconut shrimp to start, please. Can you repeat? I would like the jumbo coconut shrimp to start, please. Good. Let's say you want a side, maybe the garlic bread. You could say, can I please have the garlic bread on the side? Can I please have the garlic bread on the side? Can you repeat? Great. One last thing I'd like to mention before we finish, and that is tipping. In the USA specifically, tipping is extremely important. Tipping at least 18% of your bill is obligatory, as it's what allows servers and bartenders to make minimum wage. While 18% is a minimum, 20% is standard, and up to 30% or more is possible, and always highly appreciated to show that you had great service. However, never tip under 18%. Not only is it seen as extremely rude, but it could get your server in trouble for doing a bad job. Tipping less than 18% or not tipping at all also means your server is literally paying for part of your meal. It's standard practice that tips must be shared between the rest of the wait staff in the and so very important to tip your servers at least 18, if not 20%. Okay, one more thing before we go is what's on the table. So here we have a table setting. On letter A, we see a napkin. Napkin. B is a fork. Fork. C is a plate. Plate. D is a knife. Knife. E is a spoon. Spoon. F is a glass. Glass. And G, a teacup. Teacup. We could also call this a coffee cup if it's coffee that you have in it. Okay. So I think that's where we might have to end today. Hopefully this was helpful to you and that you feel more confident. Thank you very much for joining me today. Have a good one.
Great, thanks so much. That was beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening. Well done. It was so interesting to listen to. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thanks.
I think everybody else did too.
Lots
of love. Bye.
All right, bye.